Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and in this video we're going to continue the series that I've been doing for quite some time on filtration reviews, and this week we're going to talk about this behemoth right here, the Tidal series from Seachem and Seachem. This one that I have on the 10-gallon tank here is a 110, so stick around and we'll talk about that more in just a minute. Alright, so to start off, I have a couple of these filters. Currently I have this 110 model that I don't use very often, and I also have a Tidal 35, which is the smallest one. So they come in several different sizes, starting with the Tidal 35, the Tidal 55, the Tidal 75, and the Tidal 110, and the number corresponds to the maximum gallon tank that the manufacturer says that the filter is suitable for. So the 110 is suitable for tanks up to 110 gallons, and the 35 that I'll show here in just a little bit is suitable for tanks up to 35 gallons. Now these are this series of filters are very good in general. I would venture to say that as far as hang on the back filters go, they are sort of top of the line, you might say. I do think they have certain aspects about them that aren't great, depending on which model you're talking about, and we'll dive into those a little bit. But in general, I think these are very good filters, and if you're looking for a hang on the back filter, these are going to be some of the best options you'll find out there. And you can check out some of my other videos about hang on the back filters. I've reviewed some Marineland filters and the AquaClear filters. So in my mind, these are going to be up there with AquaClear. I just happen to be an AquaClear fan myself, but these are going to be very similar in quality, if not a little better, depending on what you want, what you're looking for, and what you need out of a hang on the back filter. So some of the good things about this filter: the lid comes off, obviously. There's a little latch here. This blue latch slides back, and the media basket comes out, so you can take this out completely to clean your media. I don't have all the media it comes with, but it came with some Seachem Matrix, which would be your biological filter media, and this big sponge that sits on the bottom. So this is going to be your filter media. Now when it goes in, the overflow for this filter is along the back, so when the media gets clogged, the overflow will come up along the back of the filter itself, and then come back through the basket and over down the spillway. That's both good and bad in my experience. In my experience, it can clog up, or when it does start to clog up, the overflow will kick in a little too soon, in my opinion. But you can also stuff some filter floss or whatever in the back of it here to catch any debris that might be bypassing the filtration and going through the overflow. Now another good thing about this filter is that it's self-priming, so the motor is actually in the front here, so you don't need to fill the back of this filter. You can just plug it in and it'll go. It has a couple of different options on it also. This blue dial at the top is a flow control, and the blue dial inside the tank there at the bottom changes the way the water comes in the filter. So it changes the ratio between the surface skimmer, which is the slots here closer to the top where the water line is, and then the uptake tube down on the bottom. And that's unique to the bigger filters, so the 55, the 75, and the 110. The 35 that I'll show in a minute doesn't have that second dial because it doesn't have an uptake tube. It just has the surface skimmer intake on it, which I'll discuss a little bit is for me a bit of a shortcoming. So stick around here and we'll just plug it in. So the filter is starting to fill up right now. It's actually pushing the sponge up because it had some air in it. So we can see this is full bore, and then when you turn the dial down, this is all the way on low. So a very good flow control, as you can see. Now, one of the things with this 110 and why I haven't used it very often is I find it to be a little bit, the motor to be a little bit noisy, and if I'm quiet for a minute, maybe you can hear that. And I've let it run for a while, a couple of weeks, to see if maybe a little film builds up on the impeller and it quiets down, but it never really quiets down very much. And I'm curious to know if anyone has a Tidal 110, if they also have experienced it to be noisy, or maybe I just got a goofy one, or one that has an impeller that needs to be replaced for some reason. But this one is a little bit noisier than I would expect, so that's one of the reasons I haven't used it. Plus I switched over to some canister filters, but that's one of the things that bothers me about this filter. Now, getting to some of the benefits, I think it's pretty straightforward. This filter is made of quality materials, it's got excellent control for the flow, it's self-priming, you don't have to fill the back, it's got a great media basket that is huge, it will fit a ton of media in this hang-on back filter, comparable to the Aquaclear 110, so you're going to have a ton of space to put whatever you want inside this filter. So hang tight, and I'm going to switch the camera angle and we'll talk a little bit about the Tidal 35, which I do use, maybe, although in a slightly unorthodox way, but I do use it, and we'll switch that around and we'll check that out in just a moment. So for the Tidal 35, I actually have it running on this 20-gallon trash can that I keep water for top-offs and water changes on small tanks, etc. So this just keeps the water moving a little, and I've got some media in here. So it's very similar to the 110. It has the same media basket, though this one doesn't have a hook right here, so it just pulls straight out. It's obviously significantly smaller, and the flow control is this little dial right here. But the flow control on this one is similarly good. So that on low there is going to be great if you have a 20-gallon tank or something, or what have you, with a beta in it or something. You might need a low flow, and you can adjust it anywhere in between. So the flow control on this one is good. Now, unlike the 110, this surface skimmer area that you see, it's just that's the housing. There's no uptake tube that goes further down into the water column, so it's sucking all of its water through these little slits in the front that sit above the motor housing. That's, in my opinion, it's a little bit of a hassle, and it's one of the reasons I use it on this, is instead of, say, up on that 33-gallon tank that has an Aquaclear 50 on it, is because when I do a water change, I typically like to leave my filter plugged in, you know. And with this one, you can't do that. It's going to be, I mean, you could, but it's going to be running dry because it doesn't sit very low down in the water column. So I have to unplug it and all that jazz. And like I said, maybe I'm lazy. Who knows? I guess I'm a little bit lazy. I prefer to leave it plugged in. And on this one, you can't do that. Now, with that being said, it's otherwise a fabulous filter. It really is. It's a great filter. It works great. Filter's great. The basket's great. The flow control's great. The quality of the build is great. I've used this one a lot. It's been around my fish room. It's been on a 20-gallon. It's been on a 75-gallon. It's been on a 29-gallon. It's been on this. So it's, and in the year and a half or so or more that I've had it, it's been around and it's been used in a lot of different ways, and it's always done its job well. So my complaints about it are fairly minor. Now, going with a trend that I see in a lot of hang-on-the-back filters, in my opinion, the better ones tend to be the smaller ones. So when you start getting into the big ones like this 110, I think the positives start to get outweighed by the negatives a little bit, and it's really just better to use a canister or a sump or something if you're gonna start getting into the bigger filters. But for a small tank or a medium tank, these medium-sized Tidal filters are excellent. So I've got a lot of experience with this 35, and at work I service a few 55s and 75s, and they're also really good. So I don't care for this 110 a whole lot, even though I do think it's a good filter, but I really do like this Tidal 35 a lot, and I think it's a great filter. And you can see some similar observations from me in my AquaClear video. I also think the smaller AquaClears tend to be better than the bigger ones. So it's just something I notice in hang-on back filters in general. But like I said, this is a great filter, and it just sits here on this little reservoir. Anyway, thank you for sticking around on this little video. I just wanted to do a quick review of these filters. Like I said, I do think these are really good filters. I do recommend them. If you're looking for a hang-on-the-back filter for your tank, you pretty much can't go wrong if you pick up a Tidal 110. It's one of the best in the hang-on-the-back category, and it's going to do an excellent job of filtering your tank. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. As always, please consider liking and subscribing and all that good jazz, and we'll see you next time. Bye.